This was an opportunity for you to just see what can happen when you're, it's very few times, I've told you many times, we don't want to have just a line, a nondescript line, an undedicated line. But in this case, we had a chance to kind of play around with, I'm not really happy with the pattern I did, but I just went with what I had. But anyway, we had a chance to really take advantage of line and actually have it become part of our texture. And even though we had line on here, we want to take advantage of our tapered stroke. And so we have a chance to see it more intense at one end and it gets lighter at the other. And so in that way we can show maybe either a pattern or maybe some depth in some of this grain. And boy, I wish I could remember who it was. Somebody posted one of their variations of this knot on the community. Oh, it was just really great. And all these things look dimensional because they do. They kind of recess and they kind of scoop out, and you'll have it deeper and higher and deeper and higher, and it just goes in waves. But then we had a chance to go ahead and use these lines to our benefit and come up with, no, let's go the other way. Come up with some more character than just having it flat like this. We were able to go ahead and use some of that same line structure that, fortunately wood is like that. But then we created some variations in it and made the cracks and the places that might catch the light on the edge and showing that it gets darker even in that little space as it goes back into the recesses. And so this makes it kind of fun because we have a chance to now show even more dimension. Slight little things can change the dynamics entirely. And we could have put a crack in this one as well, but this wasn't for that purpose. I wanted to let you see what you could do with just a line and have the opportunity to play around with that. We needed a range of value for contrast. We needed clean edges to value for depth, like I told you here, where we had this very clean edge along here, and then everything past that just drops off so that it goes inside. Over here we have a little bit of there's an edge here, but this is catching the light. And so that's really important because now that registers in our mind and we know exactly what's in front of what and where everything is going. So let's go ahead and go to the material. The material was interesting. It was more about trying to deal with the aspects of how's the light hitting it. And even though we have these different textures, we wanted to be able to see what we can do with giving it dimension. Now, I could keep working on this and it could become maybe more refined and more refined. Maybe it doesn't look as fluffy as it could, but I wanted to, this is where I wanted everybody to have a chance to see that there's still an edge to many of these things. And I want to have my shadows go the right direction. And I want to be able to show how you can use a gradation in each one of these little facets so that you can gradually start showing that these are dimensional and they're actually sticking up and they're blocking the light from something else. And we can tell whether something is in the way because it has a clean edge in one place and yet it's soft over here. So we always have that ability to see, and we can communicate in our drawings what's in front of what. I just think it's one of the greatest powers I have, and you have also when you're drawing, is to show that this collar or lapel or this collar here is in front of what I've created behind it. And because I'm using light appropriately and I'm getting darker as it goes to where there's less light, even though there's texture and it's somewhat uneven, I don't want everything the same, but I want to be able to show that this is overlaying that and I have something disappearing from my sight. Wonderful, exciting thing. And then you'll realize against this value that this doesn't look that dark. If I use that same value out here against a lighter skin, I suddenly have something that's silhouetted. The same idea we would use with our hair. So this one here was just an exercise in showing that you could, even though it has this pattern and it has this dimension to it, all this ribbing on this material, that there is a part of it that catches the light. And I wanted you to be able to see, even though there's all that texture, establish the light direction, because otherwise you're going to miss the fact that this is round and this is the part that's catching the main light source.